Good morning, traders. This is your daily market breakdown on the GBP USD on the 4-hour time frame. We can see that the market opened on Sunday at midnight at quite an aggressive push into the downside. We are seeing quite a substantial amount of support here, and we can see that the price came down. It pushed itself back up. It has now dropped down aggressively after entering into this potential supply zone, which would have been a potential tap-in zone for you to enter a short position. What I'm waiting on at the moment is if we scroll out, let's say to the daily, we are still quite bullish, although we're seeing substantial amount of resistance around these areas. And because of this, I am waiting to see what the price does, especially around London Open. I think it's still going to be quite bearish. And if I drop down to the 1-hour frame, what I'm waiting for is to see a full body break below my confirmation line for a short position, and I will target this unverified demand zone just below. So I'm currently waiting for a short position. What also might happen is that the price retraces back into this tap in short zone before then pushing itself aggressively back down. So again, this is relying a lot on what's happening over in the Middle East. The peace talks have broken down, and that is why we've seen this huge push into the downside. So the euro US dollar is following a relatively similar pattern as the GBP USD. We have seen that the price came down, it then pushed itself up, breaking structure, creating this unverified tap-in zone to go in for a long position. The price has now pushed itself into this tap-in zone. And so because of the fundamentals, what we're seeing with the conflicts in the Middle East, I don't want to enter into a long position because I want to see how that plays out. So what I am waiting for is to see whether or not there is a full body break of structure on the hour frame into the downside. If there is, then I will likely enter position for it to then push itself into this previous lower low. Or what we may end up seeing is a continuation into the upside, which then breaks this market structure. And because it breaks that market structure, a new demand zone will likely be formed. I'll wait for it to come back into that demand zone. If there's a nice change of character or break of structure, BOS, I think of, then I will then enter that position into the long, and that will continue the trend into the upside. So that's my play for the euro US dollar at the moment. I'm just waiting to see what happens when the London session opens. If we do see a break of structure into the upside, I will then wait for retracement back into that demand zone before entering into a long position. If it breaks this line down, if it breaks this confirmation line, I will then enter a short position targeting this area down here. On the JU, we are seeing that the price is pushing itself up quite aggressively, which is very, very nice. It has now entered into this unverified supply zone. So again, what I'm waiting for on the lower time frames on the hour is to see whether or not there is going to be a full body candle break below this confirmation line. And then I may enter into a position, a very small position, just to see what happens when the price enters into this area here, into this tap in demand long zone. And what I would then want to see is, does the price begin to push up, breaking market structure? And if so, then I will enter into a long position, targeting the daily highs, targeting these daily highs up here. So I am still quite bullish on the the USD to JPY, but again, I'm just going to see how the market plays out when the London session starts. If we do see a very nice full body break, I will likely then take that position. If we see the price continue into the upside, then I'll likely take a long position after breaking market structure with a full body candle stick above this line. So that would be my play on the the USD JPY. If we head over to the DXY, it is so sporadic. We are seeing that the market is just causing these huge gaps in the market. That means we are massively still reliant on how Trump, or basically the statements given by Trump at the moment. So these are just massive swing highs and swing lows. It is not looking very good for the technicals at the moment. So again, we just need to wait and see what the market does upon opening. What we may end up seeing on the DXY is last week we saw the price come down and hit the first level of support. That was completed. It came back up and then hit the second level of resistance. And what we were waiting for was to see if the price would then continue into the downside here. which would have followed that path if the peace talks had gone very well, which they currently haven't. So what you would be waiting for at the moment is, upon market open, we want to see that this get broken with a full body candle break. Maybe it goes a little bit higher, creating a tap in demand zone for us. And when the price retraces back into that zone, we then want to enter into that position targeting these new higher highs. And if that plays out, then everything that we've gone through for the Euro US dollar, the GU, and the USD JPY will also play out as well. So they follow, they go hand in hand, right? So that would be my play for the DXY. If we head over to gold, it has been playing beautifully into our technicals, which is an absolute wonderful, wonderful thing to see. We saw the price come down, it entered into that verified demand zone, and then pushed itself back up into this potential liquidity area. Liquidity was grabbed, and then it pushed itself back down into an unverified area of demand again. And we're seeing this massive push back into the upside. So this is we're very bullish on gold at the moment. And what is likely happening is that it came back up to this supply zone. It then came down to this, now it's a verified demand zone. And it is likely going to break market structure here. And when it breaks market structure, we're likely going to see the price retrace back to perhaps the daily, the weekly open. And then this would be our area where we would look for a long position. And then we will enter into a long, targeting these previous daily highs. That would be the zone that I would be looking for next. And once it enters into that zone, we may see quite an aggressive retracement into the downside if peace talks go very well. And then this all plays very nicely into our technical analysis. So I'm looking for longs on gold today. Of course, it's going to take a little bit of while for this to play out. But like I said, when the London session opens, we should get a much clearer picture. Okay, heading over to BTC USD. It again played very nicely into our technicals. Although we did get stopped out last week, very frustrating, where we had entered into this position and took a short position. And what had happened was the price came down. It created this demand, this unverified demand zone. Now it's verified. And we can see the price has gone up. And then it's pushed itself back into the downside, back into this unverified demand zone. So what I'd be waiting for on the 4-hourly or the hourly would be a full body break above this line. This would be my confirmation line. And then I would take a long position targeting the previous highest high. Again, if the DXY is not looking good or the US dollar is struggling, we may see BTC retrace even lower, back to one of these unverified demand zones down here. And then we would look for a very, very shallow long position, potentially targeting the daily, weekly opens, and we'll continue into the downside. So that would be my play for the BTC today and throughout this week. And there it is, traders. That is your daily market breakdown.